All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Just a quick disclaimer. We know absolutely nothing. So, yeah, this is just a little insight into, the minds of some 17, 16, soon to be 18-year-old Australian gals. And, so take everything with a grain of salt.
Maybe a bag of salt.
Maybe a bag of salt. Okay, we'll be a little bit more generous. Maybe a bag of salt. But yeah, hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to the bus stop. You're here with
Adele.
Sorry, she's chewing.
Imogen.
Nicola.
And Christine. Currently, anyway. Angelica may arrive in some time, maybe not.
Okay. Can I just apologise if you hear crunching sounds or if you hear cars going past? We are outside at a park.
We're eating some mad chips.
Day.
Yeah.
And we're eating chips because we're hungry.
Don't worry, where we are, that social distancing rule, up to 10 people in public spaces, so don't call the cops.
Because if you do that, you'll waste their time.
Yeah, because we won't be there by the time this comes out.
Exactly. But yeah, again, like Nicola said, apologise for the ASMR chip
Something
session.
fell in my drink.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, so this is Adele's first time trying Mountain Dew. What are your thoughts?
Scared my body's gonna hate me tomorrow. It tastes like lemonade.
Good review. So, what were we going to talk about? The economic... Wait, let me get this verbatim.
Oh, I'll give the overview.
There you go.
So basically, my little family and I were having a bit of this chat the other day, and I thought this will be a good one for the potty.
Potto.
No, the podcast.
Buddy. Yeah.
Basically, that whole idea, I don't know if it just, sometimes you think, and it kind of blows my mind, that there are such a huge chunk of people who literally have nothing. Like, they'll have like $1 a day if they're lucky, and there's just, they might not even have a floor. They'll share a bed with 6 other people. It's insane, like, they have nothing. And then you have people who just have like a sickening amount of money, right? And you can't tell me, and then those people, you can't, like, a lot of the time, okay, yes, some of those billionaires will have worked quite hard and probably finessed the system, but not all of them. Not all the millionaires have worked their butts off to get to that point, and the people who are earning approximately nothing are probably putting in a lot more work to get what the heck they're getting.
Exactly.
And it's just sorry.
No, keep going.
It's just that, like, terrifying how there's so much money in the world, and those people who have all that money do not need all that money. They've probably got a ton of it sitting away, and then they've got like paintings that have like 1 dot on them. I don't know. It's just stupid. And then these people can't even like get enough food to eat.
Yeah.
Like it's just far out.
Going on top of that,
Yeah.
sorry. As I said before, some people don't know the concept, like the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. Like $1 million, if you earned like $1,000 a day, no, $100,000 a day, you would get
A lot of money.
a lot of money, obviously.
I was going to say she's about to
I think
do that
you'd
math
get
right now.
like, I don't know, $1 million in about 10 years. But if you would try and get $1 billion
In that amount of time.
with that amount of money each day, it'd take you about 10,000 years.
Oh my god.
And there's people out here, the richest man in the world owns $88 billion.
Couldn't be me.
Jesus.
Couldn't be
Just
me.
so, well,
wow.
from the last I checked, which was not that long ago, it was $88 billion.
That's insane.
Now that's a lot of money
You can buy
for
the
some
moon.
random white dude.
Yeah. It really does.
Imogen's
boggle my
also
mind.
white.
Yeah.
Well, I
touchy
am white,
subject.
but like,
It's just a description. It's fine. But it really is. I don't know how to feel about it because, like Adele said, you've got people that have bucket loads of money when they don't need it. It's so just strange to know that because, like you said, like this, and then again feeds into another subject I'll get into later. But you've got people that have all this money, and it's like,
Your
I know-
houses can hear us.
oh, it's fine. They can join in on our conversation.
We're not that.
It's the
like
bus
daycare.
stop, by the way.
Yeah. Follow us on Soundcloud, Spotify.
we're not at a bus stop,
YouTube
we're at a
and
park.
everything. Hey,
Oh, no,
don't
sorry, carry
expose
on. I
us.
interrupted.
Sorry.
No, you're right. Like they don't need that amount of money, and I wish, like, this wouldn't be able to happen because people are greedy, and it's like I earned it, it's my money, this. But I wish for people, like, once you surpass a certain amount of money, you should, like, donate a certain amount, like, each month or each year to...
Have like a donation tax.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
because you don't need that much money.
Like, I understand
You don't.
once you have that amount, it's hard to kind of let go of it, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but I'll just use, say, Netflix for an example. Before you had Netflix, you were fine without Netflix, but now that you have Netflix, you don't want to live without it. So
Yeah.
before you had a stupid amount of money, you were fine without that amount of money. But now that you've got it, it's kind of hard to change that and like let that
Yeah.
go.
But say for people that are like $3 billion net worth or whatever, what is $20 a month gonna do? Like you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
So also, this kind of ties in with the thing of tax, or like tax and fines. You know how
Yeah.
fines are all the same throughout? Like fines, like people, like rich people, they don't class fines as fines. They class them as just like
Inconveniences.
paying, you know? Like
Yeah.
if you were $1 billion, like if you're a billionaire, you know, you could park your car anywhere and you wouldn't care about the fine.
Yeah.
If the fine was $3,000, you'd
it'd
be
be
like, that's
nothing.
fine, you know, it's
Yeah.
nothing. But for a person who has like a middle like salary, you know what I mean?
And 5 kids.
It's a big
Yeah,
deal.
like a middle class paying salary, it's kind of a big deal. So I think a lot of people, European countries, some European countries, they
Adjust like the amount of fine.
adjust the
That's
fines.
such a good- it
That's
should be a
smart. Like make it a
percentage.
certain percent of their like yearly income or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Because then you look at it. Sorry.
No, yeah.
Because then you look at it like the poor person, right? Well, poorish, less fortunate person who, I don't know, has a social gathering when they shouldn't, and then you'd look at it and they can't afford the fine, right? But then you'd look at it and be like, oh well, they shouldn't have done that. They should have obeyed the law.
Yeah.
But then someone else who did the same thing but can pay that no worries, it's kind of like, does that have the same concept?
Exactly. Like if you adjusted the fines to their income throughout the year, I feel like it'd be a lot better, because then the rich would be
More accountable.
just as impacted.
Yeah.
like a little
You know,
tap
air
into
quotations.
psychology, operant conditioning, punishment. The whole idea of the fine is to, you know, make sure they don't do it again. And for the most part, when you get fined, $3,000, it's like, oof,
It's a
that was
big
a big
oof,
hit.
yeah.
I'm not going to do it again. But when it's people like this, it's nothing. So essentially, that fine did
And
nothing.
same
to
with
them.
like, if it's not a fine, if it's jail, there's a thing called bail, and they've got another thing, they can afford really good lawyers and all this stuff, and you know,
Oh yeah, like if you are rich and you can afford good lawyers, there's less chance of you having jail time. And if you can't afford lawyers at all,
yeah.
well,
like,
friggin'
what
rip
happens?
bodies. Like, that's
Exactly.
the whole concept of bail. Like, I'm not a criminology whiz or whatever, but the fact that some people, like for the crimes that they have done, can pay a certain amount of money and they're just let loose boggles my mind. I don't think bail should be a thing.
And also, like, some people get more jail time for tax evasion than people with first-degree murder. Like, you look at this, like, this guy, he, like, murdered 2 people and he only got 5 years jail time. And you're like, no,
That
you
doesn't
should be
make
locked
sense.
up for life because
And
you
then-
killed 2 people because you took their lives.
On that, because it's kind of the whole concept of, actually I was going to say the fact that you can have lawyers kind of messes things up a bit, but then if you didn't do the crime you kind of need a lawyer, but
Yeah.
anyway, but people abuse that, and
use the muse.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
and
abuse.
yeah, use the lawyers to kind of make it look like it's not as bad, or they didn't, blah blah blah. But one of the kids in our English class,
Yes.
and he did on his presentation, he was talking about just how with you know, your punishments, consequences, with whether it be jail time or fines or whatever. I don't think it was so much fines, but mostly jail time. That it should be the same, whether you're male, female, black or white, 16 or 27,
whatever your
Christian or Jewish.
yeah, whatever your financial status is. It really sucks because you'd think in institutions like that, when the whole thing is based on serving justice, the fact that there are so many loopholes
Yeah.
still today.
So corrupt. It's
The
I
fact
don't
that with that,
even-
someone
yeah.
can do a crime that's like, I mean, I've seen it more in American kind of
Yeah, well, I
places.
guess that's
haven't
where
seen-
it's
yeah.
more like
and especially when it
face.
comes to race, you'll have some little privileged white boy who's done something horrific and gotten like 6 months, and then you'll have someone else whose
literally
crime
done
wasn't
nothing.
that bad and they've had this huge punishment. And just the fact that can happen kind of tells you that there's something not right. So, you know, our whole legal system and our economic system is kind of a bit wonky donkey.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just the fact that, another thing I was talking about to my sister this morning, that money, like, obviously it makes the world go round, literally. There's no way around it. But the fact, you know, say like with money when it's paper, you can just accidentally put it through the wash. $100 gone.
How many more chips should I buy? Like 3 single chips.
3
Well,
pack.
there's
Just get
two. There's a small chips for $5 and a large chips for $8.
Is it bad if I get another large?
I mean,
No.
I've already got diabetes.
And then you can get like,
Runny.
and you can get other things like nuggets and like whatnot. And
Yeah, nuggets from the fish and chip shop.
yeah,
I look so goofy running in these shoes because they're so big.
you look goofy just running. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just gonna
I mean, this is coming from me when you call me a gazelle.
You're not one.
What I was just try and bear with me in this. I'm guessing it's still going. Try and bear with me. I have the sun on me and I'm getting skin cancer.
I have a hat. Do you want to borrow it?
Aww. Is it?
Aw.
It's a cat.
Adele, just
If this was a video, you would have seen Adele's face and it would have been pure gold.
Oh, it's always pure. Oh, it's a musical hat too.
Oh,
Lovely.
why are you putting it on sideways?
Because the sun's that way. Oh my gosh. Anyway, what I was trying to say is
That was a mess.
that was, but it's okay.
my
continue.
tiny brain can't really, because like obviously once upon a time, the only form of money was in coins and notes. So you had a physical. This is how much money you've got. But now because it's like online and it's a digit on a screen, I can't understand how or like why you cannot just somehow alter that number and that means you've got more. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
if
that
it-
doesn't make sense to
If
me.
everyone had more money, it'd make it less valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, with how
Inflation.
obviously
Sorry.
you can't. Well, yeah, obviously you can't because there's strict rules around it. But technically, you could just give everyone more money. Like, and no one's gonna lose money because you can just make more money. But you can make more money by just increasing the digits, literally, or making more physical money. You know?
I feel I was thinking about this because I was talking about this.
May I
with my
have a
sister.
biscuit,
Yeah.
please?
And
Thank
yeah, like
you.
Nicola said, like if we were to do that, the whole value and concept of money just would kind of disappear.
Well, not concept. They're still
Or just the like.
yeah.
You listen to stories about your parents and your grandparents in the old days, and they'd get like things for 75 cents and whatnot. And things have inflated over time, obviously. But I feel like it's so much easier now to spend your money online and not think about it, if you know what I mean. Like,
Oh my god, me.
this relates to us because we're teenage girls and we, buy things.
Not to me. I never buy stuff.
That's a lie and a half, isn't it?
Because
I
Nicola
hardly
doesn't
ever
have a
buy.
job. No,
Why don't you buy stuff?
I just don't.
she's a good saver. She doesn't need anything. She's not
She doesn't have a
materialistic.
job.
Yeah. I physically
She doesn't have a
Materialistic.
steady flow of income.
kidding.
Yeah, if I had an
Did you buy?
income, I would buy so much.
You forget you
But it's
bought
like,
a pair of pants.
I don't.
I bought
yeah.
2. I didn't spend $90 on one pair of pants.
Oh. Yeah.
Jeez, Christine. Jeez.
Sorry.
Steady.
But-
But $90 on 2 pairs of pants.
I feel like you just don't realize the value of what you have, like if it's on a screen, like they're just numbers on a screen. If you have it in cash, like let's just say I have $300 in my account, it's not that much once you think about it. But if you have it in your hand, that's a lot of money
That's
to
a
have
lot
in
of
a
money.
wallet,
I think also when it comes to
If you
transactions.
have it in your hand, it's a lot of money to have in your wallet.
Oh well, like you know what I mean,
I think
okay?
Your wallet in your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Double whammy. Even when it comes to transactions and stuff, just there's something about having like the physical transaction of having money in your hand and giving it away and seeing someone take it. It's more of a oof.
I don't see them take it.
Yeah.
Other than your
You know?
card, it's just like bing. Oh
That's
my
what I
gosh, I
mean.
just spent $150.
I think that's what, that's kind of what I'm saying too, is that, and the number just goes down. But the whole concept of numbers, like a 4 could actually be greater than a 9, and you've got, does that make sense?
4 could be greater than. This is some George Orwell.
I'm saying,
stuff.
well, kind
things.
of, yeah, because I'm like, we're just, I don't know, I don't mean to turn this into like a
2
stupid-
plus
No,
2
no,
is whatever
no.
it wants
But
to be.
literally, I'm like, but we
Yeah.
could just, 24 is actually, greater than like 98. But just because that's what we have, does that make sense?
I feel like
Nicola looks like I'm an
But
idiot.
also,
Like,
sorry.
I'm just confused. Like, are you talking about like currencies and like?
I'm just talking about life.
Right. Yeah. Like someone
It's
makes
kind of like
a
that
lot of money.
A
then-
tree could actually mean something that is on the I was going to say something really stupid.
But also,
Could
like,
actually mean cup, but we've decided it's tree. That it's a thing sticking out of the ground with leaves on it. Kind of like that, except with numbers.
but also, like, would you ever go online and buy something, like one thing for $50, or would you buy multiple things for $50?
I was gonna.
If you know what I mean. It's so much easier to buy smaller items,
And,
like accumulating more money, rather than buying, like, one thing.
Yeah, because you get more bang for your buck.
And on
There's
that.
probably less quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
But on that, I realise what you're saying now, because like it hurts a lot more to spend like $110 in store than online.
That's why, since I've got a job and since I've had a card, I was talking about this with the gals the other day, but the amount of money that I spent on Macca's, it's disgusting. Like, I had quite a lot of money in my account, and if my parents saw it now, they would have multiple fits. But back when...
Sorry, what should I buy?
Well,
Rude.
A large chip?
I'm
You
not
guys
paying
keep
for
the
anything,
combo going?
Yeah,
The
sure
cheap people
thing.
with the least amount of brain cells will continue.
Hey,
You do have brain
talk a
cells. I
lot.
just talk incoherently.
we carry
I
this
feel like
podcast
Imogen has
today.
the facts. Nicola makes us go back and try again.
Yeah.
Not try again, but like explain it better.
We're the
Christine and I
wild
just talk out of our ass.
Go back and try again.
This
Do I
is
have any
why...
dirt on my butt?
No,
you're-
I just sit there saying, oh, we can edit that out. No, we can edit that out.
This is why our motto is take
Yeah,
with a grain of
listen-
salt, because we are on the podcast.
Yeah, literally. I'm like,
We also have no
I
brain cells.
listening to the other episodes, I
Yes,
feel like Nicola
that too,
doesn't really talk.
The fact that, like, this certain amount of money, even especially when it's online, it's just this thing that's in the air.
Yeah, it could be literally like stars and squares
Yeah.
and diamonds,
But we've
it's
given it...
characters. It's our characters,
Yeah.
and we've given it meaning. But we can
Yeah.
change the meaning. Like, who says we can't change that meaning? I
Yeah.
could just sorry to kind of low key completely change the subject.
No, all
But-
good.
So yeah, I'm just like, we can just. It's just how we develop the concept of things. And
Yeah.
so what we were saying before is like, so we're all in year 12, right? So we have to graduate, and we have to thinking about
Futures.
education, future education, blah blah blah. What the heck are we going to do with our life, careers? So, you know, we've got a lot of I don't know what, but like we have a lot of not freedom, but just that we can do with our lives because we're still 17.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places it can go. So you kind of want it to go well and go up and keep going up.
Yes.
So, but then I'm like, if you believed in the afterlife, because then that's what we were saying. We were like, we have, you know how you have cheat days, and then we're like, oh, we have cheat lives. But
Yep.
if you believed in like reincarnation, you could just like, it's just because we want money and we want to, well, yeah, it's just, and you want to be feeling this way and looking this way and having this and feeling this kind of thing. That's why you want to do well. But like, I could just drop out of school and work at Subway for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I could be happy with that, but I choose not to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like that kind of comes into play of what, again, back into psychology, and how a lot, well, it's debatable, but undeniably a lot of who we are as a person, how we act, how we see the world,
Yeah.
is based on our surroundings, how
Yeah.
we grew up and stuff like that. And I think with societies, not to be the person that's like, oh, sorry, society made me do it, but like the norm of what a typical life is supposed to be. And I think now more than ever, there's been challenging of like what the norms are. Like, you don't
Yeah.
need to get married at 20 and
Yeah, and have a kid at 22. And
yeah, 9-to-5 jobs, stuff like that. But I think it's undeniable that there's a societal pressure of like milestones.
Yeah.
Like, just for example, this probably is a far stretch because I'm just making excuses. But I'm 17 and I'm turning 18 in August, and I have 0 hours on my driving. So for people that
Lame.
aren't Australian, it's probably the same in different countries, but you need 100 hours.
So you can get your L's when you're 16.
Yeah. So
And then, like Christine said, 100 hours of driving.
L's meaning that
Learners.
learners, and you can drive, but you have to have someone in the car with you, and your P's you can drive by yourself.
But yeah, you have to be 17 to get them, and you
Yeah.
have to have had 100 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where we live, and the people we know, pretty much everyone, you get your L's on your 16th birthday or like not long after, and then you get your P's around your 17th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it be.
And
But Christine was saying,
But for me, it don't be like that. And part of me is just like, dude, what am I doing with my life? But also thinking about it, it's like, I only feel that pressure to get it this early is because, you know, that's like the standard.
And that's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. But if it was the standard to like have your license, like your P's by 20, like I wouldn't have to complain, but or like feel some type of way. But because that's what the standard is and what the norm is, it's kind of like, which is so strange.
How do we get to that?
We were talking about money and how we just give it meaning.
Oh yeah.
The fact that money, not money itself, but the terms of currency has been around in forever. Like you think stone men times, I was gonna say, cavemen times, were like trading like materials and trading. And
fun fact. Anyway, I know very little about this, but there was some tribe somewhere, in some part of some country, can't remember where or what it was called anyway. And this was not recent, this was like a while ago. But basically, they'd been doing their own thing. And when they were discovered, because, you know, people can't just live and do their thing anymore, they had no concept of ownership. So because I'll get back to that. But, so they just straight up, they had no concept of ownership. Because if you think about it, like Christine's kind of was saying, who we grow up with and what we're taught shapes, our just concepts and perceptions of things, blah, 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 blah. So they had no concept of ownership, blah, you know, as I said 400 times, and then they were introduced to that concept by the people, and things went haywire, and it ended very, very, very poorly. But it's just interesting how, because, I don't know, when I think about it, because I kind of, even though it's inevitable, money does, I kind of hate the fact that everything, pretty much everything that like makes us content, it doesn't have to be, but it relies around money. Well, and it's like, how do you fix it? Because life just won't work if you have that whole everyone has a set amount of money. Because there's even though like people who become doctors, they say you know, it's because they like helping people and this and that, and it is I'm just using doctors as an example, or like lawyers, they like, I don't know what people say, bringing justice and stuff like that. Even though they say that, they can't deny having that salary is a pretty solid bonus. You know.
Well,
so whether
depending on what the bonus is, whether the money is the bonus or helping people is the bonus, I guess.
But that money is a good addition. Or just element of it. My head is broken. If you don't have that kind of thing to look forward to, the salary is obviously a good bonus, but you can't tell me that if you got the same amount of money for just being a trolley pusher at Coles and putting yourself through that many years of education, and not just education but like very challenging learning and stuff like that. I don't really know the details, I haven't really been through it. And if you're going to do all that and then just get the same, like I said, as a trolley pusher at Coles, there's not going to be very many people doing that. And I had a point of this whole thing, and I feel like we've started so many things, and then this is what happens when you leave us at the podcast. But anyway, sorry, just an update since it's only been Christine and I talking. Imogen and Nicola went to get more chips because we don't know when enough is enough.
But I was just about to say, like on the, I'll say something and then I'll segue into something that I think you were going to say. But anyway, with the whole, again, talking about, you know, your environment makes you whatever. When you just think about people that say that live in, like, I guess third world countries, I don't think that's the term we use anymore. I don't think that's politically correct. Anyway, don't really care.
I think we can say that. I think you can't say underdeveloped. Wait, is that I don't know.
Anyway, places where they don't have a lot of money, but because they don't have a lot of money, the concept of materialism and having a lot of money isn't a big thing. And for the most part, they're quite content, even though, you know, they don't have a lot. There's still that feeling of content because it's like they don't know, like as with those people that didn't have the concept of ownership, they don't know what it's like, so they're not going to seek for it. Whereas now, like living where we are, you know, regional Australia, and just in westernized cultures in general, and we see it and we idolize that, and we know what something can turn into, and then that like creates this whole toxic thing.
On that, which actually that is a pretty solid segue to something else I was going to say. good old social media, am I right? Influencers, etc. And how we were saying before, that concept of normal, kind of milestones or just lifestyles and stuff like that. And because these people, their job is to, you know, I don't know, maybe film their lives and put out some blogs or whatever, and they get lots of money from that, so they are able to just hang out, take some cool photos. That's their life, and it's very kind of desirable life.
Yeah.
People, and because we are exposed so much to their lives and their days, because a lot of them are are vloggers and stuff like that, so we see so much of their life, and then we think that's normal, but it's not normal. That's just the life of an I don't know, personally I forget that's their job, kind of thing. So when they don't have, like,
I can hear you through the microphone before I could hear you in real life. I don't know how that works.
That's why we were like, hey.
But
hello.
along the I feel
like if I was wearing the outfit Imogen was wearing, the pants would be up to my ribs.
This just makes me feel like this just shows how long a torso I have.
You do be having a long torso though.
They're not like high-waisted pants. So it makes
I
me
don't
feel
even know.
Conversation on, because
I
we were betting. We were like, I said I bet it's about procrastination. She's like, I bet it's about school.
No.
We started so many things,
but
then it was supposed to
floats.
explain something to segue into something else, and then we'd get distracted and do something else. So there's a lot of
But I think it's still around the money and stuff.
We
and
bought food.
We were talking. Yes.
Open her up.
We were just talking about social media and the whole how we forget that, you know, social media stars, like, their whole job is to just film things. It seems so, like, desirable and stuff, and then you forget that that's their job. And even within that,
how, like, influencers and stuff, personally, because you see so much of their day because their job is to vlog, or for some of them their job is to, like, vlog and document their day so that people can see it. And when I see that, and I'm not seeing them having to get up and go to work, and I'm not seeing them, you know, having to study or anything, I forget that life is literally doing your job and working and stuff. Whereas they, you know, I was saying, like, you know, they'll go somewhere to take some pics, and then they'll make some, like, I don't know, weird recipe out of vegan recipe, you know what I mean? Like, you forget that that's not a normal life.
Even within that, the fact that
this is so exciting because they're going to listen over it and they have no idea what we were talking about.
Oh yes, be excited. But
that's the whole thing for Boyana and Angelica though.
Yes. I think people forget that those social media stars, that's such a small minority of the population. Yes, social media is getting big and stuff, but that's really not the norm. It's just because they've got a platform to show it, and it seems like, oh, everyone's doing this, when it really, it's such a small minority of people, and not
and also
really, people don't live their lives like that.
Finished. I'm sorry.
It's really not.
Yeah. What the hell was I going to say? Oh yeah, also, because it'll be like maybe a 20-minute video max, right? Personally, I forget that's 20 minutes of their lives. That's not showing. So much happens not in that kind of time.
How many seconds are in a year, did you say?
How many seconds are in a year?
You said something about
11 million seconds are 11 days, and billion seconds is 31 years.
Wow.
Like,
ish.
You really do think about how, like, such small, and again, like, everyone knows this, but it's obviously the highlights of people's lives, right?
Yeah. And every now and again they'll open up some of it, but for the most part.
But because it's, like, in our faces constantly, I think it kind of, we forget the fact that this isn't an everyday thing, and that, like, people's lives are more than that.
Quick question, is chicken salt made from dried chickens?
What?
No, I don't even think...
chicken stock.
It's cubes.
Yeah, so you could probably make chicken salt out of salt and chicken stock, I reckon.
Yeah. But also it's just artificial flavouring.
Yeah.
Do you reckon this is real?
It's made in the lab.
I think chicken salt is banned in some countries, isn't it?
What?
I think so. Freaking MSG probably.
Oh, do you want to hear our crazy thought?
Yes. So we had a great kind of conversation. Well, not really conversation. We just had a thought. So we are the monolinguals of this group. Kind of.
Literally. You're hardly, but like...
You're like the most bilingual.
Wait, Christine, you can understand...
Well, yeah, I can understand what my parents say, but
You can't speak.
I
So you're like 1.5 linguals.
Yeah, but honestly, I feel like it's an offense if I say I'm bilingual because it's really not the case. But
Yeah. So
I hate like YouTube or something comments, and you'll be like looking at everything, and everyone's like, oh, I only know like 3 languages. I forget that it's, or I'll mention to my mum that such and such knows 3 languages fluently, and then she's like, in Europe, everyone pretty much knows 6 languages, and I'm like, okay, I'm the disappointment, I get it, but like it's crazy that it's normal to know like 6 languages, whereas here I hardly know 1.
Yeah.
Continue.
So
Yeah.
we were saying, like, we all have internal monologues, yeah, like in this group. People
Sorry.
who are bilingual, what language is their internal monologue in?
Whatever they're
Like,
most,
do they always think in one language, or do they change?
I
Like,
think-
depending
I
who
think
they're
it depends
around.
on how fluent they are. in it.
Right.
Exactly. So if you were like fully fluent, because some people don't have a first language. Well, they do, obviously, because you have to speak in some language. But like
They grow up knowing 2 languages.
Yeah.
they grow up
Yeah.
knowing 2 languages, so you can't say one is preferred over the other.
Yeah.
Kind of like Boyana in our group.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking about what is her internal monologue, because I know from
If she was
Me-
only here.
from
could
me, a
call her.
person who studies a language, I have to kind of translate it in my head.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to say something, I would think of it in English and I'd translate it in my head and say it in a different
I
language.
did see someone say that they consider themselves fluent in a language when they can think in that language. So,
Well, when you think about it, it's one thing to articulate it and stuff, and when you articulate and stuff, that obviously helps your memory. But I think it's the next steps for it to just stay in your head and you can analyze it in your head without having to do the whole speaking and then again you helps your memory type of thing.
But it's also
So-
like, you know how the primary source of learning in our years is like from, I don't know, you psychology people should know this.
Zero. What's the prime? It's 0
Prime
to
source of learning.
Well, 7. By 7, you should be able to talk.
Exactly.
Read, stuff like
So
that.
even if people study different language, it takes like a lot more to memorize it, learn it, because your primary learning years are over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's so weird to think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not the only one who speaks a different language. Like, I can't even speak it all.
What I want to know is,
we're the least bilingual in the
I
group.
know.
hey, musicals
I'm with
are their own
Christine. I
language.
think
Okay,
I'm
thank
a
you.
step below Christine.
No, I think it'll flip above me.
So I'm the least bilingual.
Probably.
I think I'm a step
I
below
can read
Christine.
sheet music.
Yeah.
That
like,
means I'm the least bilingual because you can read sheet music. I
Yeah,
can
that's
hardly even
what
do that.
what I want to know is
I
how
can
do you
read chords.
You can do
tab.
you can do true colours in Auslan.
That's what
forgot
Perfect
that. What's
said.
Auslan?
Wait, it's Australian Sign Language. How do people that speak sign language think? Like internal
Yes.
How do
monologues.
blind people imagine things? Like people who are blind.
Blind.
Blonde.
People who are born blind. How do they?
What do they dream?
Oh, and you know those people that like listen to the sounds and it interprets in colours? I think that's so cool.
No,
What?
I don't.
I've
Wait,
never heard of
I've
that
never
before.
heard of that. I'm really confused. But some people don't have internal monologues.
Yeah.
That astounds me. How
That
do you
astounds me.
Some
How
people
do you
also
think?
can't imagine things in their head.
But also some people don't have a filter, and it's just like increasing stupidity comes out from their mouths.
think? So people that
Why are you pointing at me?
Imogen doesn't have.
so
a
people
filter.
that are blind mustn't have no not blind. People that are deaf mustn't have internal monologues.
Are you right there?
But I feel like
Do they have a hand
But they still
going
think.
like this?
Do they imagine the sign language?
maybe.
How do people who are born
Wait.
blind and deaf learn to?
Helen Keller.
Yes. Fun fact: the first book I ever read was a biography of Helen Keller.
Yes, sir.
Is that the?
No way.
Ever read?
Really?
Yeah.
It was your first book as well.
We read
Is
it
it-
in class and then I
Yes,
tried
well,
to
is
that
that
read
what
it.
it's
count.
called?
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to.
That was the first book that I attempted
Yeah,
to
because we
like,
did
read.
that in class, right? I was trying to remember the name of it because she was blind, deaf, and mute, right?
Yeah.
And like I just remember the biography of it.
Mhm.
I never knew her name. Thank
And
you
the way
for that knowledge.
the way that they communicated it for people. So basically,
So
I've got
if
my
you
hand.
just see here,
I've got my hand, and I'm holding Adele's hand like a handshake. But they would do
Like
like,
write
sign
the
language.
letters?
They'd write letters and stuff on the other person's hand. Oh, there's
And just-
Angelica.
insane respect for Anne Hathaway. No, I'm kidding. That's not her.
Anne
Who's
Hathaway.
the chick?
The friend.
Anne.
Something.
It's her
something.
pretty sure her
Green
name
Anne
is Anne.
Hathaway
It's not Anne
is
Hathaway.
William Shakespeare's
That's
wife.
that's
Okay.
Hitler's.
Hitler, not Hitler.
Jesus Christ. and something, whatever, Helen Keller's
Is she
sister,
trying
mad
to talk to
respect,
us?
I would probably have a fit the moment, like I would just not, I have no patience,
Yeah.
so that's insane.
That was like the only person that she could communicate with. And the amount of
it's so sad.
like I can't like
I just remember of like her being like locked in a room or
yeah.
something. That's the only part of the story I
Yeah.
remember.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
I think
there was a lot
kinda
of-
sad.
Like a lot of when you think about the whole psychology aspect of things and how important social interaction is and stuff, she would have been deprived of so much. One of my biggest fears that I think about is not being able to see. Like I
What?
can't imagine not being able, like what, I don't know what's,
You obviously will get used to it though.
yeah.
Like, as much as it'd suck,
That's something that
you'd adapt.
sorry, mad segue. But when you imagine your future, right? Like, personally, I imagine just being older, right? Not really keen on having kids, but maybe I will have kids. Maybe I will, I don't know. There's all sorts of things that would happen. But you just imagine that
I'm not gonna use my cup
typical,
anyway.
like I'll be working, I'll hopefully have some form of family, life will be great. You don't, people, like they turn 20 and then on their 20th birthday they had a party and then something happened and now they have no legs or now they're like blind or, you know, then they will be
that's good
diagnosed
ASMR.
with like something and now their life is depleting.
Well, you know how, so stop, you creep.
If you since you can't actually see this,
Christine's shoulder.
Stop.
scandalous.
Adele's trying to look up my arms. It's icky.
I'm
sounds
actually
like
gonna
us.
throw up.
No, arms. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Slap. Did you just slap her?
Slap her face.
That was such a crisp slap.
I'm so sorry. Imagine if you can hear that online. Slap.
full.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna die.
I'm so sorry. Would you like a nice back?
What is this?
No, a nice pack. I was gonna say, you know how some. This is the laughing portion of the podcast.
my eyes.
I can't open my eyes. No, yours is up. What was I gonna say? You know how some people like when they're really angry they swear
Christine,
and
you're
they're.
talking so loud.
I'm sorry.
You want food?
We gotta ask you a question.
I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna throw up.
What language do you think in?
What's your
Angelica?
internal
Can you get a bit
monologue?
closer to the microphone and then say
Yeah.
My internal monologue.
yes.
Yes.
Is it in English? Or is it in
Tagalog?
Tagalog?
Is it in Egyptian?
Is it in
Is
Cantonese?
it in sign language?
My internal monologue is in English, but if I need to make radical decisions, it's in Tagalog.
What does that even mean?
Can you stop
like,
stroking
if I
my
can't-
oily
Sorry,
forehead?
sorry.
Stay where you are.
Sorry.
You don't need to get that close.
So if I can't think properly, so like for example, I need to do like a rash decision, it's better to
Oh, because it
say
makes you
in
think more?
Tagalog.
Is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
She has a better personality in Tagalog.
What does that even mean?
Can I have a nugget?
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna throw up, but I keep eating.
Or is it like because you don't have to put as much thought when you're speaking Tagalog as you do when you speak English? So that's why you speak.
No,
So, like,
the other way
I
around.
want
Just
that
think.
one.
She has to
Oh.
put
I
more
was gonna
thought
get
into
this
that.
one.
Because
So she thinks more.
I would have. Do you find it easier to speak Tagalog than English?
Yes.
So I would have thought when you're thinking rash decisions, you would think in Tagalog because that's like the easiest, like the fastest thinking. If that makes sense.
My
Turn your
fastest.
bloody bleep
If I'm
blow
talking
off.
to myself, is in English.
Mm.
Like if I really need to think of something, it's in Tagalog.
And if you're talking in Tagalog, it's in Tagalog or?
No, it's in English.
No, I mean her thinking, not her talking.
Oh well, that's funny.
So good.
So I'm just eating stuff now.
No, that's all
That's
good.
all good.
Do you think we can wrap it up?
Wait,
How-
time
The
is
chips,
well.
no.
We
I'm
have
still eating.
52 minutes worth.
Alright, so
Oh,
we should stop
that's
this one and start another
I
one so
love
we have
you.
a few weeks.
Yeah, that's good.
I love you
Alrighty.
too.
Okay, well thank you for tuning in,
Thanks,
guys.
babes.
Thanks. Cheers, dolls.
Bye.
That's disgusting.
So, signing out from Christine,
Adele.
Angel
Nicola.
and Imogen.
and this has been
The
bus
bus
stop.
stop.
And Boyana in spirit.
and Boyana in spirit. Yes,
Yes.
sir. Alrighty,
Yes,
bye.